heavy blackout curtains hold the afternoon sun at bay, keeping the bedroom in a state of artificial midnight. My internal clock wakes me before the alarm has a chance to sound. It is 4 in the afternoon. My day is just beginning, while the rest of the city is thinking about winding down. I stretch, feeling the cool cotton sheets against my skin, and exhale a long, steady breath. There is no rush. There is only the routine. I rise and move to the bathroom. The tiles are cool under my bare feet. I run the water until it is hot, letting the steam fill the small space. Shaving is a ritual of precision. I apply the cream with a badger hair brush, working it into a thick, white lather. The razor is heavy in my hand, a solid piece of stainless steel. I pull the skin taut and glide the blade down in smooth, deliberate strokes. One pass, then another. I rinse with cold water, pat my face dry with a plush towel, and inspect the work in the mirror. Clean, sharp, ready. In the closet, my uniform awaits. As a pit boss, my appearance is the first layer of my authority. I select a charcoal gray suit, wool, tailored to fit without a single crease. The shirt is white, starched stiff enough to snap if I were to shake it. I slip my arms through the sleeves, buttoning the cuffs with silver links that catch the dim light. I fasten the buttons from the bottom up. Next is the tie, a deep midnight blue silk. I drape it around my collar, measuring the length by feel. I cross the wide end over the narrow, loop it through, and pull it tight into a double Windsor knot. I adjust it until the triangle is perfect, centered exactly between the collar points. Symmetry is essential in my line of work. I move to the kitchen. I grind the beans fresh, the low hum of the grinder, the only sound in the apartment. I brew a single cup of black coffee. I drink it standing at the counter, savoring the bitter warmth. Beside my cup, I arrange my pocket items: a heavy fountain pen, a small leather-bound notebook, my employee identification badge, a minimalist watch with a leather strap. I clip the watch to my wrist, checking the time. It is 4:45. I take the elevator down to the garage. The air outside is dry and still hot, holding the heat of the desert day. I get into my car, the leather seat warm against my back. I start the engine, and it settles immediately into a quiet, vibrationless idle. The drive to the casino is a transition. I merge onto the highway, keeping the car at a steady speed. To my left, the sun is beginning to dip toward the mountains, painting the sky in bruises of purple and orange. To my right, the city skyline is just starting to flicker awake. Neon signs buzz to life, fighting the twilight. I enjoy this time inside the cabin of the car. It is a sealed capsule of silence. I do not listen to the radio. I use the time to clear my mind, to organize my thoughts, prepare for the constant observation that my job requires. I take the exit for the employee parking structure. The concrete ramp spirals upward. I park on the 4th level, in the same spot I always use, perfectly centered between the white lines. The walk from the garage to the casino floor takes me through the back of the house. The corridors here are painted a neutral beige. The floor's polished linoleum that squeaks softly under my dress shoes. I pass the security checkpoint. I hold my badge to the sensor. It unlocks with a heavy magnetic thud. The guard nods to me, and I nod back. No words are needed. We are both professionals. I push through the heavy double doors and step out onto the floor. The atmosphere changes instantly. The air is cooler here, conditioned to a constant 68 degrees. It smells of ozone, expensive carpet, and faint perfume, even though the main shift is just changing over. The casino never truly sleeps. There is a low, ambient hum, the distant chime of slot machines, the murmur of early players, the soft clatter of chips. I walk toward the central pit, my designated territory for the night. The carpet is thick and plush, absorbing the sound of my footsteps. I feel the weight of the floor, the energy of the space. I approach the podium in the center of the table games area. The day shift boss is there, organizing paperwork. We exchange a brief greeting, a handover of information. He tells me about the high rollers expected later, the tables that have been running hot, and the dealers who are on break. I take my place at the podium. I pick up the phone to call surveillance, just a quick check-in to let them know I am on the floor. I hang up and step down to walk the perimeter of my pit. I approach an empty blackjack table. The green felt is pristine, brushed free of dust. I run my fingertips over the bays. It is smooth, slightly fuzzy, cool to the touch. I check the chip tray. The clear plastic lid is locked tight. Through the transparent cover, I see the stacks of chips. Red, green, black. They are arranged in perfect columns, a geometric landscape of potential value. I verify the shoe, the discard rack, the paddle for the drop box. Everything is in its place. Everything is secure. I stand at the edge of the pit, hands clasped behind my back, watching the dealers file in for the evening shift. The lights above seem to brighten just a fraction. The stage is set. The work is about to begin. I step onto the plush carpet of the pit, crossing the invisible line that separates the chaos of the gaming floor from the sanctuary of the staff. This is my domain. It is an island of order amidst a sea of chance. The air here is cooler, circulated by massive vents high above that hum, with a white noise so constant it functions as silence. I reach to my belt and unclip the master key ring. It is heavy, a dense cluster of brass and steel that jingles softly against my hip. I enjoy the weight. It grounds me. My first task is the inventory. I approach table 4, a blackjack table draped in emerald green felt. The fabric is brushed perfectly smooth, devoid of dust or lint. The dealer, a man named Marcus with hands as steady as a surgeon, nods to me. We do not need to speak. He knows the rhythm as well as I do. I select a small silver key from my ring and slide it into the lock of the chip tray, known as the float. The mechanism yields with a satisfying mechanical clunk. I lift the clear plastic lid, setting it aside. Beneath the fluorescent lights, the chips gleam. They are arranged in rigid columns, color-coded and precise. I run my eyes over the stacks. This is visual mathematics. I do not need to touch them to know the count. I see the tower of red $5 chips, 20 high. I see the green 25s, also 20 high. I scan the black 100s. I note the solitary purple 500s in the back. My mind tallies the total instantly. I pick up the clipboard resting on the podium, uncapping my pen. The ink flows smoothly onto the paper as I verify the opening count. Marcus signs. I sign. The paper slides back onto the clip with a snap. The table is open. I move to the next station. Here we are introducing new decks. The cards arrive in brick-shaped cartons, sealed in cellophane. I enjoy the ritual of the seal. I pull the red tear strip, and the plastic falls away. The cardboard box opens with a friction-heavy slide. I tip the cards out. They are stiff, pristine, and smell of paper and finish. I hand them to the dealer, who performs the wash. She spreads the cards face down across the felt in a wide, chaotic swirl. It looks messy, but it is a necessary cleansing. Then she gathers them. I watch her hands. She squares the deck, tapping the edges against the table until it is a perfect rectangular block. Next comes the inspection. She fans the deck face up in a perfect arc, a rainbow of suits and numbers. I lean in, my eyes tracking the sequence. Ace through king, hearts, clubs, diamonds, spades. No blemishes, no ink spots. She flips the fan over. The backs are a uniform tessellation of crimson geometric patterns. I nod. She scoops them up and feeds them into the automatic shuffler. The machine whirs to life, a gentle, rhythmic grinding sound as it interleaves the cards, randomizing the future. I drift toward the craps table. This is the centerpiece of the pit. The stickman is wiping down the wooden rail. I pick up the bowl of dice. They are red, translucent, and sharp-edged. I select 2 and hold them up to the light. I am looking for bubbles, cracks, or imperfections inside the acrylic. They are flawless. I take a small micrometer from the pit stand. I place a die between the calipers and tighten the wheel. until it touches the surface. I measure the height, then rotate it to measure the width, precise to the thousandth of an inch. I spin the die on the felt to check its balance. It hums like a top before settling. Satisfied, I place them back in the bowl. Now the flow state truly begins. I stand in the center of the pit, my back to the podium. From this vantage point, I can see every hand, every chip, every movement. I do not focus on one thing. Instead, I soften my gaze to take in the entire ecosystem. I listen to the sounds of the trade, the slap of cards hitting the felt, the click-clack of chips being stacked, the soft murmur of place your bets. It is a percussion section that never misses a beat. I watch the dealers. Their movements are efficient, practiced thousands of times. A dealer at table 6 clears his hands, turning his palms up, then down, showing the camera they are empty. It is a gesture of transparency, performed with the grace of a dancer. I see a payout at table 2. The dealer cuts into the stack of chips, separating them into smaller piles to verify the amount before pushing them toward the player. The motion is fluid, a transfer of weight and value that happens in under 2 seconds. There is no stress here. There is only the procedure. Every action has a rule, and every rule is being followed. I am the conductor of a silent orchestra. I check the time on my wrist. An hour has passed, yet it feels like minutes. The pit is breathing, inhaling bets and exhaling payouts, and I am standing at the center of its lungs, ensuring the air remains clear. I spot David approaching from the direction of the cage. He walks with the same measured gait we all adopt eventually, a stride that eats up the distance of the casino floor without looking hurried. He is my relief for the next 45 minutes. I wait for him to step up onto the riser behind the podium. We do not need to say much. I slide the clipboards toward him, tapping the column where the table drop totals are recorded. I murmur the status of the high limit table, noting a player who is running hot but remains friendly. David nods, his eyes already scanning the layout of the 4 blackjack tables in our pit. He taps the counter on the desk to signal he has the helm. I step down. The physical sensation of leaving the pit is subtle but distinct. My shoulders drop half an inch. The constant, low-level radar that tracks chips, hands, and eyes switches into standby mode. I walk the perimeter of the carpet, moving away from the center of the action. The sounds of the floor change as I move. The bright, major key melodies of the slot machines fade into a distant wash of noise. As I push through the heavy double doors that lead to the back of the house, the air in the employee corridor is cooler, smelling faintly of laundry starch and polished concrete. The lighting shifts from the warm, golden hues of the gaming floor to the clean, white fluorescence of the operational tunnels. It is quiet here. The only sound is the squeak of my shoes on the linoleum and the distant hum of the industrial HVAC system, keeping the massive building at a constant 70 degrees. I enter the dining room. It is the lull between the lunch rush and the dinner service prep, so the room is spacious and calm. I move through the line with practiced efficiency. I select a ceramic bowl and fill it with vegetable soup, the ladle heavy and balanced in my hand. I take a small plate of crackers and a glass of iced tea. I find a table in the corner, away from the television screens. I sit. The chair supports my back, a welcome change from standing. I unroll the linen napkin and arrange my silverware. The spoon is cool against my fingers. I eat slowly. The soup is warm and savory. I focus on the texture, the steam rising from the bowl, the crunch of a cracker. This is a moment of sensory recalibration. On the floor, my senses are projected outward, monitoring 1,000 inputs a second. Here, I draw them inward. I drink the tea, feeling the cold liquid wash away the dryness of the air-conditioned floor. I watch the second hand on the wall clock sweep past the 12, the movement smooth and silent. When my break concludes, I bus my table, placing the dishes into the rack with a soft clatter. I wash my hands, the soap smelling of citrus, and dry them thoroughly. Walking back to the floor, I feel reset. I push through the double doors, and the casino atmosphere embraces me again. The energy has shifted. It is mid-afternoon now. The frenetic pace of the morning tourists has settled into a steady, rhythmic cadence. The light seems softer, even though it is artificial. This is the lull. The serious players are resting, and the evening crowd has not yet arrived. I relieve David with a nod. He steps down, and I take my place at the podium. The pit is running smoothly, so I use this quiet time for maintenance. It is time to refresh the decks on table 3. I unlock the cabinet beneath the podium. The key turns with a satisfying, lubricated click. I pull out a long, rectangular box containing 6 decks of cards. The box is heavy and solid. I break the perforated seal with my thumb. It gives way with a sharp tear. I open the flap and slide the first deck out. The box is cherry red. The cellophane wrapper is tight and glossy. I pull the gold tear strip, peeling the plastic away in one long, spiraling ribbon. The sound is a high-pitched zip. I slide the fresh cards out of the tuck box. They feel like a solid brick, perfectly compressed. The edges are razor sharp and white. I fan them once to check for imperfections. The cards cascading from one hand to the other with a fluid, rushing sound like water over stones. They smell of paper and finish. I repeat this process for all 6 decks. Open, peel, slide, fan. I walk over to table 3. The dealer finishes a hand and looks up. I place the fresh cards on the felt. We follow the ritual. The old cards are collected, verified, and dropped into the lockbox. The new cards are spread across the green baize face up, then face down, a wash of red and white patterns. The dealer gathers them. She places them into the automatic shuffler. The machine hums to life, a low mechanical whir that signifies the start of a new cycle. I return to the podium, pick up my pen, and log the time of the deck change in the ledger. The ink flows smoothly onto the paper. Everything is accounted for. Everything is ready. The relief shift manager, a man named Marcus, who has worked the floor for 20 years, approaches the podium. It is exactly 3 in the morning. His arrival signals the beginning of the final ritual of my shift, a precise handover of responsibility that ensures the continuity of the game. We nod to one another, a silent acknowledgement of the transition. There is no need for excessive chatter. We both know the rhythm. I open the digital logbook on the terminal. I scroll through the shift notes, highlighting the high action tables and the players we are monitoring. I point to the screen, my finger tracing the lines of data. Marcus leans in, absorbing the information. We discuss the credit lines, the fills, and the markers. The conversation is low and efficient, a shorthand language of numbers and codes that we both speak fluently. Next comes the physical verification. We walk together to the active tables in my section. We do not interrupt the dealers or the players, but we stand behind the box, eyes scanning the racks. We verify the chip counts visually. The stacks of black, green, and red chips sit in perfect towers within the clear plastic trays. I watch Marcus note the totals. He gives a small nod. The inventory is secure. The math balances. Back at the podium, I finalize the shift report. I type the concluding sentences, the keys on the mechanical keyboard making a soft, satisfying clatter. I press enter, and the screen blinks, saving the file to the central server. The day is archived. The record is permanent. I reach into my pocket and pull out the heavy ring of keys. These are the keys to the chip racks, the discard holders, and the podium itself. I hold them out, and Marcus takes them. The metal clinks as the weight transfers from my hand to his. It is the final release of authority. The floor is no longer mine to worry about. I step away from the podium and straighten my jacket. I walk toward the employee exit, moving from the plush, thick carpet of the gaming floor to the smooth, polished linoleum of the back of the house. The transition is auditory as well as tactile. The constant, ambient hum of slot machines and the murmur of the crowd fade instantly as the heavy security door clicks shut behind me. Now there is only the hum of the ventilation system and the echo of my dress shoes in the long, white hallway. I walk past the count room and the wardrobe department. I reach the time clock. I slide my badge through the reader. It beeps once, a singular high note. I am officially clocked out. I push through the rear exit doors and step into the parking garage. The desert air is cool, a sharp contrast to the climate-controlled atmosphere inside. It smells of dry earth and faint ozone. I walk to my car, the sound of my footsteps distinct on the concrete. I unlock the door, slide into the driver's seat, and close the door. The silence inside the cabin is profound. It wraps around me like a blanket. I start the engine, feeling the low vibration travel through the steering wheel. I drive out of the garage and onto the empty streets. The city is still awake, the neon lights flickering in the rearview mirror, but I am moving away from them. I merge onto the highway. The lanes are wide and open. The tires hum against the asphalt, a steady, hypnotic drone. I watch the white lines pass beneath me, rhythmic and predictable. When I arrive home, the house is still and dark. I lock the front door, the deadbolt sliding into place with a solid thud. I place my keys in the small ceramic bowl on the entry table. I loosen my tie, pulling the silk knot free, and unbutton my collar. I move to the bedroom. I hang my suit jacket on the wooden hanger, smoothing the shoulders. I place my shoes on the rack. The process of undressing is slow and deliberate, shedding the uniform of the pit boss. I wash my face with warm water, scrubbing away the fatigue, and then switch to cold water to close the pores. I dry my face with a thick, soft towel. I climb into bed. The sheets are cool and crisp against my skin. The weight of the duvet settles over me, pressing me down into the mattress. I close my eyes. My body is heavy, completely relaxed. My mind replays the day for a split second, seeing the perfect stacks of chips, the balanced ledgers, the smooth rotation of the cards. Everything was handled. Everything was correct. The images fade. The rhythm of the shuffle slows down in my mind. The noise of the casino is gone, replaced by the steady, slow beat of my own heart. I am safe. I am done. I drift into the deep, quiet dark.